no reinforcements arrived. In the meantime, the 9th Air Force had joined the RAF in covering General Montgomery's victorious march from El Alamein. At the close of this campaign, the 9th joined Junior, and they worked together in the invasion of Sicily and Italy. In amphibious landings, the foot soldier has to carry out one of the toughest and most dangerous of all combat assignments. Air cover is of supreme importance, both to his morale and to the success of the operation. When a beachhead is established, the enemy's full strength must be held off until our troops have a chance to dig in, land heavy equipment, and supporting units. The tactical air power of the 12th and the 9th accomplished this in Italy. Our planes riddled the enemy's communications. Neutralized his artillery, shot up his troop train, and stopped his tanks. Because of recent developments, the 12th has moved its headquarters to Italy. The 9th is in England for current operations. And our newest Air Force, the 15th, has moved into Africa. With this distribution of air forces, tactical coverage can be provided for any presently contemplated land operation. From its bases in Africa and Italy, the 15th can carry out strategic bombing over the whole of southern Europe, while from England, the 8th can plaster northern Europe. Together, they cover Hitler's entire fortress. There is no corner of his stronghold that cannot be reached by the crippling blows of strategic bombing. Our remaining 2 air forces have operated on the other side of the world, in India and China. Japan's unwarranted campaign of aggression began 13 years ago. A powerful Jap Air Force had undisputed control of the Chinese skies. These were happy days for the Jap flyers. They flew their missions almost unopposed. They murdered at will. But in 1941, while America was still at peace, some visitors arrived in China. These were the Flying Tigers, under the command of a master tactician, Claire L. Chennault. Unaware of their presence, a Jap bombing mission headed for its target. The Chinese warning system flashed the news across the hills to the Tigers. Tigers climbed high as the enemy came on unsuspecting. One gone, and a Flying Tiger circles around his victim to make sure of the kill. The score that day was 6-0. From then on, the Flying Tiger's combat record never dropped below 5-1. The Flying Tigers were supplied over the old Burma Road. Following Pearl Harbor, Japan took Burma and cut this supply line. The Tigers became members of General Chennault's 14th Army Air Force. But because of this same problem of supply, the 14th is still numerically small. Supplies for the 14th start the journey from the United States by ship. After a voyage that takes 2 months, the vital cargo is unloaded at Calcutta. The bulk of it must be pushed to the river docks, laboriously loaded onto barges, and shipped upriver to Assam. Length of the trip, 40 days. The other route to Assam is by rail on a primitive railroad. Shortly after the trip begins, the rail becomes narrow gauge. The agonizingly slow process of unloading and reloading starts again. Frequent accidents and irregular schedules further slow up supplies. At the end of the arduous rail trip, most of the heavy equipment is loaded on trucks for a 4-day journey on rough, dusty roads. And so by ship, train, river barge, and truck, the supplies for the 14th were painfully assembled in Assam, headquarters of our 10th Air Force. The 10th is one of our oldest air forces, created in haste when the Japs threatened India. Today it defends the western terminus of the only route left into China, a hop from Assam across the mountains to Kunming. The last leg of the trip is known to the pilots as going over the hump. The trip is as dangerous as any combat mission. Most of the time, the weather is so bad that the pilots have to make the 17,000-foot mountain passes on instruments. If they veer south, they drift into Jap-held Burma. North, into 22,000-foot peaks. The crews of the Liberators must ferry in their own bombs, gasoline, and everything else. In order to fly one bombing mission, they must make 4 trips across the hump. Finally, the bombs, the gas, the tires, the food, the cigarettes, the 1,000 things our flyers must have, arrive at Kunming. But the journey isn't over yet. There's one more leg into enemy territory. Hong Kong is the objective on this mission. The bombs are finally away. They've come 10,000 long miles. They've been on for close to 6 months. But on this last couple of miles, they traveled swift and true into the enemy target. To broaden the scope of our operations in China, we're building a supply route from Ledo. The road is being built as we fight and will eventually connect with the old Burma Road. When completed, it will carry some 40,000 tons per month. The conquest of Burma would further facilitate transport by opening up the port of Rangoon. But basically, we must have a direct route into China. For China, besides having obvious geographical advantages, has the great asset of its people. American-trained Chinese pilots have already proved themselves in the 14th. The Chinese make expert mechanics, and their manpower is limitless. Potentially, China is our best base for strategic bombing of Japan. We've struck at the enemy's defenses from every side. We've had some success, but Japan is still far away. For our 15 air forces all over the world, 1943 was a year of great achievement. We flew more than 350,000 combat sorties, but in 1944, we will fly an estimated 1,500,000 sorties. Over 4 times as many as last year. In 1943, we dropped nearly 200,000 tons of bombs on the enemy. In 1944, we will drop an estimated 700,000 tons, 3.5 times as many. In 1944, our strength in every category of air power will decisively outclass the enemy. As our military power grows, Germany and Japan are placing increasing reliance on non-military factors to avert their defeat. They realize the vital importance of our production during the tough year ahead. They're counting on their theory that a democratic people is too undisciplined to maintain the terrific production pace we have set. They think they can make the cost of victory so horrible that we will weary of the horror. We in the Air Force know the price of victory. Every battle takes its toll of our planes and men. Our enemies think that we will flinch at the prospect of further casualties and settle for a compromise peace. A compromise peace is the secret weapon of the enemy. Our answer is this. In the skies above these flyers who died, there will be no compromise. In enemy skies all over the world, there will be no peace. Our bombers and fighters will rise in ever-increasing numbers. The roar of our motors, the pounding of our guns, the whine of our bombs. These sounds will never cease until our enemies below are destroyed.